For 92, 93 minutes, that seemed like it was going to be 3 more points coming home. How do you feel after that right at the end?
Yeah, obviously, I'm disappointed, obviously, for World Connect at the club because it looked another 3 valuable points for us. I thought we were solid with our shape again, solid and effective and controlling the game. Nullified them to real few chances, and any chance that would come, they were trying to put the ball in the box. But I thought we defended well. Long range efforts. Remember Maxi pulling off a fantastic save with his foot again, his left foot. And apart from that, really, it looked odds on, Raj, but that's football. It only takes a second to score a goal, and we've just been done right at the end.
It was a shame because we had chances to make it 2 as well, and in the build up to it is a possible foul. Not that we're going to rankle over that, but it was solid again, and it's 3 games now without defeat, which is overall a positive. It doesn't feel that way right this very second, but overall, once we've had a day or 2 to rest, maybe the brighter picture.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you look at the calibre of teams we've played in those over the 7 days, credit to the players, credit to the points tally they've amassed. And again, it solidifies the work we did in the international break, really, to carry us through these 3 games. And it's been tough on the boys today with the second away game in 4 days, the travel and everything else. So I've got no complaints with them in terms of the effort and the endeavour that they showed. Obviously, it's a bitter pill to swallow now because with it being so late in the game to concede a goal like that was bitterly disappointing. But that cannot overshadow what was another solid performance.
Yeah, it's great that you make that point because I think back to how I felt on the whistle compared to how I feel now thinking about it. And Southampton aren't a bad team; they're one of the best teams in the division. Sunderland aren't poor either; they're in the top 6. We took 4 points from those games, and coming here to a Swansea team that really want to play, really want to do well as we do, to go through those 3 games in such a quick succession undefeated is no small matter when you think of how far we've come in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, and with it coming the 3rd game in the week, you want that extra day to be at the 3rd game in the week. We had it in the second day, so to get back from Sunderland at the time we did and have almost like a 48-hour turnaround, that's another positive today. And we weren't quite in terms of the energy levels at times, but that's because of the second being the 3rd game in the week. But in terms of them doing their jobs and staying solid and resolute, they did that. As I said, as a small critique, we had opportunities to increase and get a second goal, and I just thought we chose the wrong options at the time. But it's an area that we've identified that we need to work on, and we will do some work on it, and we'll get better in those areas.
Some positives, you managed to make a few changes at the start of the game, probably because of the amount of games we've been playing in quick succession. Danny Ward and Yuta Nakayama stepped in. Danny, after a long period of not starting games, he obviously made his comeback against Sunderland in the week, and then Yuta after international duty. They did brilliantly, and then you were able to bring Josh and Delano on towards the end. Again, we talking about these minute restrictions and looking after the boys, but after such a heavy workload, they needed looking after a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, and delighted that, over the 2 games, the minutes that we've got into Del and Danny, when you look at the Christmas period, what's coming up, that will give sufficient minutes for those 2. So as well as playing the game today, there was, we got to look at this the Christmas programme coming up, and last thing we needed anybody really coming off with any serious injury today through overuse. The only one concern is Jacko, but we'll assess him over the next couple of days. We hope that that's just tiredness and fatigue, which is understandable playing wing back. You've got to cover big distances. So we hope that's not anything too serious. So hopefully we've come through the game unscathed.
We've got a week now until that Bristol City game at home. How do we treat this week then? Because it's been such a heavy load this week. Do we step off a little bit, or do we front load the work towards closer to the game? How does it work now?
Yeah, no, for us today now, after that today, the boys will have Sunday and Monday off. I'll give them a couple of days, and we'll be back in Tuesday ready to work. With the workload that they've done and the travel and that, sometimes rest and recuperate is just as important as working on the pitch. So we look at this now over these next sort of 2 days, tonight, tomorrow and Monday, as a recovery for them to rest their bodies. And then we'll come back in on Tuesday and we'll start some work building up for that Bristol City game and analyse the game in terms of what's gone on over the week, over the 7 days, and look at the good points that we've done, how do we make them stronger, and the weaker points in it, how do we make those strong as well. So they're both elements to work on next week, and the week gives us time, a little bit of space and time on the training ground to implement one or two of those ideas.
What's your message to the players when we get back then over this week? Is it to concentrate on the net positive over these past 3 games and show them that the work is obviously, you know, showing in their performances now?
Yeah, they've seen it, Raj, because after every game we debrief a game. We look at the good points and the bad points in it, but we look on it as an opportunity to improve. And when we look at the over the last 3 games with the positive results, they've been positive for so many aspects in terms of the work that we're doing. Obviously, getting 1 or 2 back off the treatment table helps, and those are aspects with us that we need to look at next week. And we use the week to work, because after that week goes, we're into another busy period again, where we'll hopefully get 1 or 2 bodies back. I'd like to hopefully think that, you know, the likes of Ben Wiles and Lee Nichols again, just to add to that, really, just for them bodies coming back in, getting ready for that Christmas period. Without a doubt, it's been a positive week. It's been a positive response. When I look since we've got back at the international break, it's been really, really positive. What we got to do is keep taking the good points and applying them, and continue to do that. And we'll get time to analyse this. We'll get time to get some work in before we approach that Bristol City game.
The only reason I ask not to try and be negative was obviously the lads will be feeling this result. The timing of the equaliser will be playing on their mind and will have frustrated them. But that shows that they care at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and that's a good thing. Can only be a good thing. And we got to get back up there. So really, in terms of it, we wouldn't do the debrief now, get them in the ice bath now. Not that they need it in this cold weather, but they will do, because with them having the next few days off to recover, they'll need that, because we've got to get back on Tuesday and get some work done.
The last thing we'll talk about is, you know, amazing support from the people who managed to make it here today in this weather. The journey that you have to take to get to South Wales isn't easy, and then we obviously want to see as many Terriers as possible back home next week for that Bristol game. Yes,
and again, for the travelling support, you'd have had supporters there now that's travelled on Wednesday night and made the long journey down here, so absolutely fantastic, credit to them. And though they were heavily outnumbered by the home support, but I could hear them, Raj, all the way through the game. So again, credit to them, and thank you so much. And I'm so pleased that you're able to go back up to Yorkshire, and we didn't get beat today. You've watched your team again, didn't get beat. You've watched your team give a lot of fight, commitment and endeavour today. And but for a small, minute error in the game, didn't see us take all 3 points, and I'm gutted for the players and everybody for the club, because after that endeavour and commitment and that solidity, it looked odds on that we were going to get those 3 points, but that's football.
Darren, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, thank you.